from the outside looking in my life, you would probably think that it's absolutely full, it's perfect. I have a great husband, I have amazing stepkids, I have this podcast that's launching, I've started a new career. I have all these beautiful things that my life just seems full. And the truth really is even though my life is full, I still have this uncanny amount of loneliness in it. And for a very long time, I filled that loneliness with dogs. With dogs. My husband, God bless his heart, he works and travels, so he's gone most of the time. And I would be at home by myself, and we got a dog. And it wasn't just one dog that we ended up with. I ended up with three, four, and come to find out, I ended up being highly allergic to all four of the dogs. And I ended up having to see an allergist, take Benadryl, like the life goes on, trying to feel this loneliness that I had because I didn't want to be by myself all the time. And if you have a dog, it's great because they come and they lay in your lap, or they you give them a treat. There's unconditionally loving animals. I ended up with three of them. Come to find out that it wasn't like the dogs that I needed to feel the loneliness. It was something inside of me that felt like I wasn't enough for everybody. And that feeling of not being enough for everybody makes you feel isolated. It makes you feel unheard. It makes you feel alone. And it makes you feel that way even when you're completely in a room full of people that love you. And I ended up having to obviously get rid of all of my dogs, and that was heartbreaking for me, but I couldn't survive with them. I couldn't live with them. I it was a really hard transition for me because I badly really wanted to be able to keep them. And I could have kept them outside, but what kind of life would that have been for them? Especially when they were being raised as inside dogs. Like, what kind of life would it have been for them if I just threw them outside in a cage and a kennel or whatever? And, they're used to sleeping on a sofa with pillows and a blanket kind of thing because I babied my dogs, babied them. And I ended up having to rehome them, and I had to sit with myself for a little while and come to terms that the loneliness that I was feeling was something to do with the way that it wasn't a void that I needed to feel. It was a question and a emotion that I needed to address. Basically, I reflected on my past, and I realized that from early experience, emotional neglect and trauma, it really shaped my ability to connect with other people. And trust doesn't really come easy for me, and being vulnerable with other people makes it feel, for me, it feels like a risk. These patterns that I developed as a child had followed me into all my relationships, adulthood, and it made things a lot harder with, having connections. And the big thing too is society has this thing that if we're successful, we're happy. If we are successful people, we are happy. There's nothing wrong in our lives. We're good to go. But that is some bullshit, man. You can be the most wealthiest person in the entire world, and you can feel completely alone. You can have everything at your feet, everything you could ever want and desire, and you could feel completely alone. And then you have to fake this, facade to having it all together for people because that's what people see. And deep down, you just feel completely isolated. It's exhausting to try to hold up some type of, fakeness or facade for people to pretend like you're all happy when really you're not. After a while, going through all these emotions, getting rid of my dogs, trying to figure out why I was unhappy when my life was actually really good. I've always had the last 4 or 5 years, I've actually had a really, really good life. I have had some amazing experiences. I have a great husband. I have great kids. I've never went without anything in the last 5 years. And even before I met my husband, I never went without anything because I always worked and provided for myself. But, in the last 5 years, it's been the loneliness came from this detoxification of every negative person in my life. It was feeling alone. I wasn't really feeling lonely. It was not really missing connections. It was like the detox of the chaos, because my body was just surviving on all this chaos. Phew. After a while, what I did was I started to just deconstruct all of my beliefs and what I thought made me feel lonely and why I felt lonely. And I realized that I actually wasn't lonely and I wasn't missing anything. It was just like I wasn't sure how to survive in a normal life because I grew up in some chaos and I was in a relationship with a bunch of chaos. And how you have to figure out what the normal is. Like what is the normal? Therapy, I had support groups for cancer, and I've had a lot of honest conversations with with myself and with my husband and therapists and just people that I trusted to having to be vulnerable with them of how I'm feeling. And that really opened so many different things up for me. So I just want you to know if you are feeling lonely, even despite you having this really amazing life, you're not alone. A lot of people feel loneliness, and it is a human experience that everybody does feel, but you have to figure out why you feel lonely. Is it because you don't have anybody around you? Is it because you feel like you're lacking something in your life? You don't feel fulfilled? Like why is it that you feel lonely? Seek out support if you have to, have those vulnerable conversations with people that you trust. And once you're able to bridge those gaps that you need to bridge between isolation and connection, you'll be able to move forward. And every step moving forward is a journey, and you take one step at a time to move forward. And as long as you're moving forward, you're going to get closer and closer to those human connections that you might want to have.